Good morning. Today is Wednesday of the 33rd week in Ordinary Time. I kind of emphasize 33rd because this coming Sunday is the Feast of Christ the King. It marks the beginning of the 34th and final week of our church year of grace and favor from the Lord, because at the end of the week we begin our new year with the first Sunday of Advent. However, before we actually enter the Advent season, one of the important elements of this part of the church year, like all of this week, the 33rd week, next week, the 34th week, the readings and Mass prayers for this week are very much pointing us to next Sunday, the solemnity of Christ the King. And then the next week, beginning with the Feast of Christ the King and taking us right up to the beginning of Advent, has something of a summarizing effect, if you will, if that's the right word to use even, but summarizing the entire year that we have been living through, praying, celebrating the sacraments, performing those good works of charity, whether they're the corporal or spiritual works of mercy. In a way, the final week does summarize the entire year, from last Advent through Christmas, through Ordinary Time, through the great penitential season of Lent, the glorious Easter season, and then bringing us now to the end of this year. But one of the things that I would encourage you to do is take one of the four Gospels. I would suggest, since this year, year C, the cycle of readings uses the Gospel of St. Luke, I would read the parts of St. Luke's Gospel where he narrates Jesus performing various miracles. For instance, we recently heard from St. Luke describing that as Jesus was passing through that city of Jericho, a blind man found out it was Jesus, and so he shouts after him, "Son of David, have pity on me." The crowds try and keep him quiet, but he won't be silenced. He shouts again, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus hears him and asks him to come to him. And Jesus simply asks the man, of course, Jesus as God knows the man is blind. He knows what the man wants, but it's for the man's sake. Jesus asks him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And the man simply says, "Lord, please let me see." That's a very powerful petition, a very powerful prayer. The reason I suggest doing this between now and then the first Sunday of Advent is because the miracles of healing which Jesus performs, he inevitably says, "Your faith has saved you." What that means is they recognize in Jesus, whether they're blind, whether they're lepers, whether they are crippled or lame with some sort of infirmity, they realize that they have to go to Jesus and ask him for healing. And that's important because as we draw closer and closer to the Advent season, one of the things the Church urges us in very clear language is to have that same attitude of faith. I need Jesus. I need him to heal me of whatever sins I've committed, whatever past resentments or whatever it is that I'm harboring. I need him and only him to heal me. And when we do that in our daily prayer, it doesn't have to be a half an hour of praying. It can be just 3, 4, 5 minutes. Just be quiet, give to the Lord whatever it is, and use the words of that blind man. Lord, please let me see. Please heal me. You won't be disappointed. He will do it. He will do it immediately, and you will know you've been healed. And so these coming days are quite important. And I would urge you, if you can, to go to daily Mass leading up to this coming Sunday, the Solemnity of Christ the King, and if possible, go to daily Mass during our final week of this year, the 34th week, as we advance rather quickly now to the coming Advent season. So may the rest of this month of All Saints and the Holy Souls be a time of grace for you, but may you also in your great charity pray for those holy souls, that God will release them in order to be with him for all eternity in heaven.